This is All Access MMA.
It is great catching up with my next guest, the head coach at MMA Gold, Jim West, who's got a number of fighters competing, but most notably this week, he's got Max Griffin, who's going to be taking on Magny. Jim, how are you live from the hotel lobby?
Yeah, I'm sitting at the host hotel lobby. I was cruising around looking for a place to work out, and this is where I landed. It's good. Columbus, Ohio is kind of pretty cool so far.
Nice.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's going to be a great card this Saturday. Of course, we got fans. It's going to be in Ohio, so that's great. How was the travel over? Because you obviously came over from California.
Yeah, we got in late last night. It wasn't too bad. It was 2.5. We went from California to Denver first, and then Denver to Columbus. So it wasn't too bad. We got in about 10:30 last night and got some good rest. Now we're just hanging out. And
doing interviews, which I appreciate, Jim. Always good to talk to you. Let's start with Max first. Big fight here against Magny, ranked opponent. The 3-fight win streak, that's kind of where I wanted to start it. I asked Max about that last week when we spoke. He just talked about, having fun in the cage. Is there anything you've noticed with Max as far as his success in the cage as of late?
I mean, Max has always had the skill. I mean, you look at who he debuted in the UFC against Colby Covington, right? Arguably he's number one in the world, right? So he's fought some of the best guys in the world. He has all the technical skills and MMA IQ to be one of the best, and he is one of the best for a reason, right? And for those reasons, I think the only thing that maybe that I could see is that Max has been able to change his approach, right? It is a fight, but everything that you see that he does nowadays, through whether it's training, whether it's recovery, and then into the fight, is there's a purpose, right? He has a plan for everything that he's doing, and he has purpose behind that plan. And I think I think that's just what you're seeing in the maturation process relative to that specific thing, because the skills are always there, right? I mean, he's beat some of the best in the world. He's going to beat another top level dude on Saturday night. And, so I just really think it's that. I think his focus, his mental coach, Danny Patterson, really helped out a lot, I think, with kind of just that whole thing that I had mentioned, and then kind of just putting more emphasis on what his purpose is each night, each training session, and then in the cage that night, and we implement the plan and go from there.
How do you make it so Max doesn't fall into Neil's, game, so to speak? Because we've seen Neil do that time and time again against Li Jing Liang, against Anthony Rocco Martin. How does Max get to fight his fight in this matchup on Saturday?
I think oftentimes, people focus so much on the other person, and the other fighter, and really it's about Max. Max will be the Max Griffin that you've all seen, with a couple of little added tools into the plan. And Neil's he'll have a hard time doing what you just mentioned, but it's more about what Max does, not necessarily what Neil does.
Yeah, that makes sense. And just last thing on Max, a little bit easier preparations for a guy like Neil, who's a bit of a bigger welterweight, considering you fought Carlos Condit, who's also pretty tall and lanky for the weight class. Does that make it kind of similar build? I know different styles, but similar build anyways.
Well, in reality, when you think about them, they are fairly similar in style, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously very similar body types, lanky, their styles, more of a striker base type thing, even though Neil likes to grapple some. But yeah, I mean, all of those things will contribute to our success on Saturday night, and the training partners that Max has been working with, and just implementing the plan that we have. It'll be a good night.
Let's switch gears to Aspen Ladd. Also got to speak to her last week. She's looking great from some of the footage I've seen and everything. And I know she added in some new coaches. How is Aspen looking from the coaching perspective going into the fight with Irene Aldana?
Yeah, she looks great. Her body is very physically healthy. She's now comfortable with the fact that, she had surgery and she knows that her leg is okay. Yeah, I mean, we've made a few changes. She's now with Game Fit, doing her strength conditioning there. She started about 5 months ago. She now works with Marcus Reeves, as far as her boxing goes. And then we brought in the old Canadian gypsy hobo, Matthew Jelly, for this camp. They've worked together before. And there was nothing necessarily bad, on who she was working with before. It's just there were some changes that she felt that she needed to make for herself, um, and she did so. And everyone will see the Aspen Ladd that everyone's gone to enjoy in the watching in the cage.
And something that I actually enjoyed last week, you don't hear it too often from Aspen, talking a little trash last week in our interview. And it's understandable with some of the stuff that Miesha Tate said after the last fight with Aspen against Norma Dumont. Just first, how surprised were you that Miesha came out and went really hard on both of you after that fight?
I'm not going to, I think Aspen said enough about Karen Tate. I don't think I need to say anymore. I mean, I just think obviously Miesha's got some demons and some personal issues that she's had in her past, and she's trying to act like everyone has those same challenges, which isn't the case. And so that's just kind of how I see it. She's using her unfortunate past of whatever she's gone through and acting as if everyone else has the same challenges, which is kind of ridiculous, but whatever. She could say whatever she wants.
What do you make of her going down to 125? Because that could have been a fight that you two could have had with Aspen and Miesha, but now Miesha going down to fight Lauren Murphy.
I think it's stupid, not in the context of just her. I think athletes that they have a bad performance, all of a sudden it's everything but themselves, right? They don't look in the mirror, and the answer is not cutting weight, right? To go down even lower, right? It's Miesha. I think the sport has passed her by, like Aspen mentioned, and I think she's looking for all these different avenues that she thinks, instead of just looking in the mirror and reevaluating who she is and how she fights. But again, that's their choice. I think she's got a really tough fight in Lauren Murphy. I think stylistically, I think it's a tough fight when Miesha's pretty much going to do one thing, or at least try to, and Lauren's pretty adept at those things that Miesha's going to try to do. So, again, it's her prerogative.
And just last thing on Aspen, big fight against Aldana, obviously, who's highly ranked just like Aspen is. Is your sense if Aspen wins that fight that she's going to be kind of in that title picture? Because I don't think there's really anyone that sort of stands out. Maybe Caitlin Vieira as far as an opponent for the winner of Nunes and Pena.
Yeah, I mean, we don't ever really look past that. I mean, I think Aspen's always in that title conversation. It never goes away. So I think with every fight, it's always that same conversation, but we never really look past it. Irene's an extremely talented, tough fighter, and it'll be fun on Saturday, April 9th.
But part of you also has got to, and again, I know you're not looking past, Aldana, but part of you's also got to feel Pena's got the title now. I know you guys were linked to Juliana, I think a few times. So I'm sure the urgency to want to get that fight is probably at an all-time high with Pena holding the belt.
Really, it's not. I mean, we have to take each fight at a time, right? If Pena's still there and at that time, then so be it. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely a fight that's been booked twice. So we're definitely very well aware of Juliana and what she likes to do. And, if that fight comes to fruition, then great. April 9th is our focus, and that will remain our focus. We'll handle business then and talk about everything else after.
And the last fighter I got to touch on, Anthony Hernandez, new opponent, now taking on Drakus, UFC 263. How's he looking? I know he's always game to fight whoever, but, obviously a different style matchup now.
Yeah, what's funny is before we got booked with Albert, we had actually asked the UFC, just because for a lot of reasons the fight made sense, right? Based on where they are at ranking. I think Drakus is like number 18 or 19 or something. I think Anthony's like 25-ish. So we were actually we had asked to see if we could get that fight prior to getting booked with Albert. And then obviously we got booked with Albert. And then Drakus' opponent fell out, and then Anthony's opponent fell out. So it just lined up, same card. So kind of worked out. Different fight, of course. But we like it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good matchup. We're looking forward to that. I always got to ask you about a couple other fights, Coach. We got to, getting the coach's perspective here. April 9th, we've got that Hamza Chimayov and Gilbert Burns fight coming up. Who are you liking in that matchup? Who do you think gets it done?
I'm going to go with the favorite. I think Chimayev's probably going to do what he consistently does. I don't know if he'll do it as quickly, or as easily, but I think he'll probably dominate. And fashion in which he's done previously, probably it may not just happen as quick.
What about Oliveira and Gaethje for the lightweight title? Who you giving the edge to in that one?
Yeah, I mean, Justin obviously has he brings that fight, right? Like he's one of those guys that just doesn't care if those caution to the wind. I think that Charles has more tools and more ways to win. I think the longer the fight goes, if Charles can continue to kind of mix up his attacks, which he will, I think Justin will have a harder time. I think Justin's got a good chance in the beginning if he can just really overwhelm Charles. Will that happen? I don't know. I mean, I'm going to go with Charles Oliveira just because I think he's got more intangibles than Justin does. Yeah, I'm going to go with him. Probably TKO-ish, maybe sometime around the third round or so.
Okay, and then just a couple more quick ones here. Same division, Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson. Who do you think gets it done there?
I think that's a mauling by Michael Chandler.
Okay.
I think Tony's, as much as I don't like to say it, I think Tony's way past where he once was.
Okay.
I think Chandler exposes that pretty quickly.
Yuri Prohaska and Glover Teixeira for the light heavyweight title. Who you like in there?
I'm going to go with Glover just because I want to. For no other reason. I just like the guy. I think it's awesome to see what he's doing. I'm going to go with Glover.
Okay, and last one, Robert Whittaker. Oh, go ahead.
I said no technical anything around it. I just like Glover, and I want to see him win.
Oh, no worries. I like the honest opinion there. And last one, Robert Whittaker, Marvin Vettori. Who's taking that middleweight fight?
Again, I think it's a similar fight to Gaethje and Oliveira. I think Robert's just got far more ways to win. His intangibles, his ability to mix things up. I mean, Marvin is just, he's super tough. He's in one direction, though. He's a linear fighter down the middle. He throws punches from his pockets. He's tough. I mean, he's going to keep going. I just don't think he'll be able to implement any type of wrestling attack against Robert, just based on his movement and the fact that Robert's a really good wrestler as well. I think Robert Whittaker wins easily.
So you're in Ohio this week. Again, we got Aspen's fight coming up 2 weeks after. What's the rest of the schedule looking like for the year? It seems like every weekend you have fighters competing from your gym.
Yeah, last weekend was some local fights, a couple of really solid prospects, 170-pounders, and Slater Watson and Gabe Guzman. They both won at World Fighting Championships in South Lake Tahoe last week. And obviously Max this week, Anthony Hernandez and Aspen 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now. And then, let's see, May 1st, we have a bunch of pros and amateurs fighting on A1 Promotions, which is not here, but in Sacramento at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, live on UFC Fight Pass. So a bunch of guys on that. Then May 14th, Andrea Lee and Jamal Emmers are on the May 14th UFC card. And then we're back again for A1 Promotions May 28th at the Hard Rock. So May 1st is a pro-am, but it will be on UFC Fight Pass. Think of who's on that one. Michael Chubera is on that one. Pro. Ryan Fearnow is on that one. Katarina Legarreta is on that one. Who else is on that one? I know I'm missing some names. Oh, Joseph Lee is on that one. Then May 28th, Jalon Reed, Diego Bigelow, Trey Williams. A lot of fights coming up. And then, like I said, Andrea and Jamal in May. And then who knows what's going to happen after that, right? There's some other local fights in June. King of the Cage, we'll go up to Reno for that. July, I got a little family vacation for 10 days. So I'm going to take care of that. And
nice.
Then, yeah. So
where are you going?
So
where are you going for the vacation?
So my family, over time, there was property bought way back by my dad and his dad in Oregon in the Klamath National Forest. The family bought about 100 acres So we're going up there as a family, stay at the Running Y Ranch Lodge, which is just this beautiful lodge. It's
Nice.
kind of just outside Klamath. So we're going to go up there for 10 days, go check out the property, just hang out. Yeah, just hang out. Aspen and I and my family, we're all going to go and just chill.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so it'll be nice.
And this week we got UFC Columbus coming up here Saturday. Jim, thanks so much for doing this, especially being on the road. If there's anyone you want to thank, anything you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, just all of our coaches, like always. Our management, Dave Hirschbein, who manages, a bunch of fighters all over the place. Shout out to our boys in Europe and Italy, all those guys, and Suriname and Aruba, all the athletes all over the world that we represent and who represent us. Yeah.